Hello, everyone. I don't typically make videos like this, but I wanted to make a short video about Silent Hill 2 Remake, particularly about a small part of the game that I consider to be the best moment in the entire game, and possibly even like in the series in terms of like meaning and atmospheric design. There is a spoiler warning, of course, so if you haven't played it yet, I really recommend you do. There's a part of the game later on, just after you leave Brookhaven Hospital, where you first have to go through a dark version of the town. I actually consider this part of the game to be the most difficult, and I definitely died a few times. There's just so many monsters going around to try and get you, and if you didn't spice up on ammo enough or health, you can quickly run out of all of those. Um, at that moment, James had already lost Maria in the hospital as she was killed by Pyramid Head. And coupled with somewhat the same torment that he already experienced with losing Mary. Losing somebody isn't exactly something that James is probably, help him at all. Like, that's not something he wants to go through again. And if anything, it probably makes things worse for him because he's already experienced loss as such a tremendous amount of pain. So losing Maria, isn't exactly something that's going to help him. So I took this dark portion of the town, to be a symbol for him being like tormented and, just kind of upset about that, like this dark version of this town is just all his hate and just sorrow. However, as you progress through the dark town, you end up at the garden that you kind of went before with Maria, and you have a brief conversation with Angela, and she at this point, even she's kind of like hopeless. She's kind of like, I'm done. But she still refuses to have you come with her. And you end up picking a key to the next part of the game, which is the Historical Society building. And then something rather interesting happens to the town and the environment itself. It's not dark anymore. It's no longer the dark Silent Hill, but it's not exactly the regular foggy version of the town either. It almost feels like it got stuck in between. And, the most disturbing thing that I find about this segment, on the way to that historical building is that there's just nothing. There's no monsters, there's no people, nothing's chasing you, there's nothing to think about. It's just empty. And, you can argue that most of the game is kind of like this, but there's always danger lurking around when you're in these other parts of the game, whether it's Pyramid Head chasing you, whether it's those little bugs, or just the monsters in general. Or sometimes you'll come up with Eddie, or you'll have a conversation with Angela. But in this portion of the game, there's just nothing happening, nothing at all. And it's kind of weird to me that happens right after you just get tormented by monsters and everything. So it was definitely such a surreal feeling. And I took this portion of the town to be kind of like James's loneliness state rather than the upset that he just came through. And probably something he suffered when losing Mary. And now, Maria, he's kind of just even more lonely. I'm going to play a little portion of this segment just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, and then I'll come back and discuss. I don't know. There's just something about this part of the game that gets me the most. And when a place in Silent Hill 2 can make you feel even more empty and depressing, you know the developers did a good job of multiplying that atmosphere and making it really good. Especially with that music going on the background, just kind of like empty piano notes that are very dissonant, and you got these drones playing in the background with it. And I guess it's just more about this is just more about around how amazing this part of the game is. Really, I consider the original Silent Hill 2 to be a masterpiece, but there are just some things in this remake that does things so much better. Many parts of the game are just significantly better, and I feel like this portion of the game is one of those editions where they just nailed it perfectly. And on top of just the atmosphere, visuals, and sound design, music, everything just works in this part of the game. How this game did not win any game of the year or even best performance for look is something that I will never understand, but it is what it is. For me, this is definitely what, or I guess was the game of the year for me. Yeah, I have to talk in 2025 now. But yeah, thanks for hearing me out and sticking, and let me know what you think about this part of the game, or if there's another part of the game that you think is so much better. I would love to hear it, and I wish you a new, wonderful beginning year. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day.